What?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. We'll highlight all that. Don't you worry.
Just
But of
saying,
course,
you gotta remind people.
Subscribe right now.
Subscribe.
subscribe. Of course.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
You're on video, by the way.
I didn't say anything bad, did I?
No, you literally just said shut up.
That's bad. All right. Whatever.
Shame.
Whatever. I hate you already, and we're not even 30 seconds into this. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Get in the Hole podcast, episode 159, 10 episodes away from 169. I am your favorite co-host, Ben Pirro. That is your second favorite co-host, Stephen McAvoy, the handsome, good-looking stallion that he is, coming to you, not so live. I'm in Vermont. Steve's back home in Queens. Bryson won the U.S. Open. That's pretty cool. Or did Rory lose it? That's coming up first. Steve, how you doing?
Wow, that was a butchered intro. But
I
appreciate the effort. I really do. I think you did a great job. With that, I want to also just quickly plug that I am doing great. It is a great Monday. Kay got her wisdom teeth out today, so I've been playing nurse. It's been a good time. We've been hanging out.
Did she get her 4 out?
Yeah, all 4.
Oh, God bless her. That's the worst. I had that.
I was trying to find the video. It was almost like a year, maybe a little bit less than that, like early mid-May. I got mine out, and I did the show a few days later with KB, like same day I did it with Kyle, and my mouth was still numb from the Novocaine. So I was like, I guess, literally tried putting water in my mouth and just fucking streamed down. It was absolutely horrible. But we're coming to you live from the underground, part of the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get a hold of me and Ben, bringing you all the news, analysis, and betting tips from across the golfing world, including the PGA, LPGA, Corn Ferry, and Live Golf Tours, probably presented by some of the best sponsors in the biz, including our friends over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the industry, founded on Long Island, represent some of the biggest personalities in sports, including Kyle Harrison, Paige Sporanic, Chris Hogan, and the like. Tomahawk Shades is guaranteed to keep you looking fresh from the first hole to the 18th green. Head to TomahawkShades.com and download the Tomahawk Shades app on the App Store or Google Play Store and browse their selection of sunglasses, blue light plus glasses, and prescription lenses. And be sure to use code USP for 25% off your next order at TomahawkShades.com or the Tomahawk Shades app. Recording every Monday here in the Underground. Once again, I'm your host, Stephen McAvoy. Joining me, of course, is Ben Pirro, that other handsome stallion. You can find him on Instagram at BC Pirro. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Real Steve McAvoy. You know, you bring up a great segue into what happened this week at Pinehurst, the 124th United States Open. If you have not been paying attention whatsoever, Bryson DeChambeau, one of my favorite golfers. Actually, I think 3 of my 4 favorite golfers were all in the top 5 this week, which is a great feeling. Love Pinehurst to death. Great course, incredible conditions all the way through. I had coworkers asking me, hey, why aren't scores 12 under after the weekend? And I'm like, well, it's a fucking challenge at golf course. It's meant to be this tough. And everyone agreed. They were like, I love golf this way. I love seeing high scores, making scorecards feel like they're a little bit more like me, not quite like you. But Bryson DeChambeau wins his second United States Open. Rory McIlroy blunders another. And I think we'll start off the show with actually breaking this down. Did Rory lose the U.S. Open or did Bryson win the U.S. Open? Now, it's a little bit of background for those of you not familiar with what happened over the last 3 holes of the event. Going into 16, Rory McIlroy for the season was 493 for 493, putting from within 3 feet. Sorry, 496 of 496 on putts from 3 feet or closer. He missed a 2.5 footer on 16 and a 2 3/4 foot shot on 18. Made par on 16, bogeyed the 18th, set up with what is most likely the greatest shot of Bryson DeChambeau's career out of the sand. 50 yards out, he said that ball was maybe getting to within 3 feet 4 of 100 times. According to StatCast, would have been only a 1.7% chance that Bryson would have gotten it to within 4 feet. And what happened? He did. Sinks the putt. wins the U.S. Open, his second of his career, the first since his win over at Winged Foot in 2020. Again, I bet the question begs to be answered: did Bryson win the U.S. Open outright, or did Rory choke it away?
It's really a shame that we have to have this conversation because, I mean, both are obviously they're both major champions and they're both some of the best at what they do, and you never want to take anything away from the champion because I mean, look, like just breaking down the stats because everyone here knows I'm a stats nerd. I mean, Bryson finished. Look, there we go. For all his rounds combined, he finished 4th in strokes gained off the tee, 13th in strokes gained in the approach game, 10th in strokes gained short game, and then strokes gained putting, he was plus 1.17. I'm not sure what that ranks in the field, but that's 12th. So he did a lot of really good things. He did a lot of really important things well, like you need to do to win a tournament of this magnitude on a course that's firm, fast. I mean, look, for his length, he finished tied for 66th in fairways hit at 57%. But when you're first in driving distance, which he was at 337 yards, by the way, he was almost 27 yards longer than the average of the field, okay? When you hit it that far and that relatively straight, 57% of your fairways, that's very good for hitting it that far. You're going to have a chance. And he certainly, he hung in there. It was pretty clear that, Rory had the upper hand with 3 holes to go. And, Rory just didn't deliver. And I think everybody who listens knows that I'm not the biggest Rory fan, but I'm not gonna sit here and trash the guy. I mean, it's a very difficult position to be in when you haven't won a major in 10 years, and the physically the easiest things to do become the hardest because there's so much. They require making short putts when you're under the gun like that requires so much mental fortitude. And you know what? He just, whether it was, I'm not going to speculate, was it a lack of concentration, a lack of confidence, whatever it is, I'm not going to speculate. That's for Rory and his team to discuss. But at the end of the day, like, Rory did have this tournament in his hands, and he goes par, par, par. He makes those 2 putts, he wins, but unfortunately, that's just not how the game works. And it's a very cruel game. It's happened, every pro out there has missed a short putt where they're just like, you can't believe you missed it. It's a shame, but you cannot take anything away from what Bryson did. The fact that he has now won 2 U.S. Opens, both very different style of courses, Winged Foot and Pinehurst, very different in style, speaks volumes to the player that he is. And he's certainly come a long way just with his game, but also how he's embracing being a superstar. And you can't take anything away from it. It's a shame that Rory, it really is. It's a shame that Rory wasn't able to pull it out. It's a shame he wasn't able to pull off the necessary shots coming down the stretch. But like I said, it's a cruel game. And, he's young enough still to where he can win more majors. He has the game clearly. But, I think something that was very telling was the body language. He misses the putt and he's watching. If Bryson had missed that putt on 18, if I was a betting man, I would have put so much money on Bryson to win that playoff because Rory looked defeated before the tournament was even over. Just looking at him as he's watching Bryson make that putt on 18 from the scoring area, he looked defeated right away. And I think that that's probably something that's definitely something Rory has struggled with in the past. His demeanor, his body language, it gets very much like up and down. And in golf, you have to be as level as possible. That's really the goal. But you can't take anything away from Bryson. He did a fantastic job this week, and it's a job well done on a very difficult golf course.
Yeah, to put into perspective how good Bryson was this week, he now becomes the 4th player to win the U.S. Amateur and 2+ U.S. Opens in his career. He joins a pretty illustrious list. Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Bobby Jones join him with that. He's also only one of 5 players to have multiple U.S. Opens before the age of 31. That's again with Jack, Ernie Els, Tiger Woods, Brooks Koepka, and now Bryson DeChambeau. I think the easy answer is to say that Rory lost the event because considering the effect of for the round, he shot 1 under in the 4th round, and Bryson shot 1 over. So with that, you can kind of already give the easy answer of how did he blow it. The more advanced answer was he had 3 bogeys in his last 4 holes. He had 3 birdies to begin the back 9 in his first 4 holes in the back. So it's a literal tale of 1-9. To go even deeper into the actual numbers behind it, Bryson DeChambeau paced the field in driving distance and driving and strokes gained off the tee. But Rory was the best player in the field, with the exception of a quick chase in the 2nd round by Russell Henley and in the 4th round by Tony Finau. He was the best player on the course the entirety of the week. Ludwig Åberg shined for the 1st round. He quickly fell off. Xander Schauffele shined for a little bit in the 1st round, quickly fell off. It was only Rory McIlroy who was in the top 5 of the leaderboard every single day from the jump and left the 1st round with the lead or tied for the lead. It seems like something, you're right, the body language was off. Something was wrong with the way Rory was approaching things. And to give Bryson a lot of credit for what he was able to go through, we don't acknowledge enough, largely because he plays for LIV, and I understand that because of the media aspect. We're more focused on the PGA Tour in the show, but since going over to LIV, we've changed the concept of what Bryson DeChambeau is from, I guess you can, for lack of a better term, a whiny bitch who played on the PGA Tour, struggled a ton with getting critiqued by the media, getting critiqued by the public, his run-in with a rope in a tournament, yelling at patrons for calling him Brooksy, just all of that all those issues. It also led into 3 caddy changes in a matter of 3 months, and now he's finally settled on Greg Bovine, who has been a focal point in his game. Approached him before his shot out of the bunker and said, "There's been harder shots that you've been able to make this week. This should be no problem." Goes up there, nails it to 4 feet, and has taken it all kind of in stride. Has become a superstar, not only from his play on LIV, even though no one's really watching it, but his play in the majors. He's been a 6th, 2nd, and 1st now in his 3 majors of the year. He very much should have a position for the U.S. Olympic team. He won't have it. That's a little bit of a spoiler. And he's very well probably going to get a selection for the President's Cup and then the Ryder Cup the following year. And the fact that all this is happening, all while LIV has given him the platform to be able to be a content creator on top of a golfer, he's been able to embrace so much more, and his game's gotten so much better as a result. On the flip side, and we always talk about this, Rory McIlroy hasn't been able to kind of grow as a person. It's kind of like we've seen the last 6 months have been a tale of 2 cities. Bryson's riding this uber high of being able to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, a part of a tour that there isn't a lot of pressure. And then there's Rory McIlroy, who has the weight of the world on his shoulders, trying to turn back on what he said about the PGA Tour and LIV, trying to maintain his reputation within golf circles to be like, hey, I'm still an advocate for the PGA Tour, but I'm trying to change my way. Almost going through a divorce, now being undivorced, and now getting to a point where he's so torn after a 3-hole stretch that completely changed what could have been a decade-long majors route to now saying, I need to take 3 weeks away from golf because I need to refocus and I need to figure out my life. That's a very, very big turn of events for Rory McIlroy, someone who for the last 7 months has been playing almost every other week to try and find himself. And to be quite honest, outside of a win at the Zurich and a win at the Wells Fargo, and I think a top 20 at some point in the last 3 weeks, has not shown a lot of promise. This week was a week that Rory McIlroy should have won handedly, and he simply blew it. He lost strokes every single round from round 1 onward, while pacing the field in fairways hit, greens in regulation, driving distance only behind Bryson, and driving accuracy. Everything lined up. The game was perfect for Rory, and he blew it.
I think something that doesn't really get talked about with Rory is, and you and I have just both discussed it. He's a very emotional player, and it goes beyond just his body language. It's he's not as destructive as Sergio, but like we've seen Rory lose his mind on the golf course before.
Yeah.
We've seen him break clubs. Like I'd be lying if I said I've never broken a club before. Like I have broken a couple. We've all done it. If you play professionally, you probably have. But he's a very emotional player, and when you're that emotional, it's pretty obvious that he is, because when he's good, he's great. He's the happiest guy in the world. But when this happens, now he's taking 2 to 3 weeks off, because he has to basically reevaluate. I understand, look, you don't feel like going to the Travelers. You just blew the U.S. Open. No one would want to go. Nobody would want to go.
Yeah.
I understand that. But I just think that, unfortunately, he's gonna no one's gonna I don't remember where I saw this, but someone said no one's gonna forget that he basically left right away.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's fair, if I'm being honest, because athletes are people, and athletes and people, every person has emotions, and everyone deals with failure in a different way. But he's so up and down emotionally when it comes to his golf game that is an exhausting way to compete. You will get tired when you're that emotional. You will wear yourself out, and he wears himself out constantly. And now as he's gotten older, he's like 36, isn't he?
35.
35. He's got a lot of gray hair for 36. He always looks stressed. There was a period of time this year where he just never looked happy. I think he showed up to the Players. I think it was the Players. He looked just miserable pulling up there. I think Rory, he needs to just learn to become more even keel, and it's easier said than done. It's something I've struggled with as well. I think most people have struggled with it. But he's got to learn how to just almost just not be like Jason Duffner, but just chill out a little bit. I really believe that. That's it.
One of the problems also that that people aren't also understanding with Rory McIlroy is that he's the first player to finish alone in second place in back-to-back U.S. Opens. Let's kind of dig and evaluate this a little bit. In the entirety of Rory's career, dating back to when he first started in his first ever major, this was back in 2006, 2007, or maybe even before that, maybe even 2004. I forget what it was.
Wait, Rory?
Yeah.
That I don't know about that.
No.
It might have been 2008 or 9.
Yeah, mid 2000s. Rory McIlroy had never bogeyed a par 5 in the final round of a U.S. Open. He's bogeyed the last 2 par 5s he's played at LACC and at Pinehurst. There's something up. Granted, whether it be that he's so, you're right, even keel, maybe there's something underlying. I don't really know. But the fact that he has been so Teflon his entire career, and all of a sudden the last 2 years on a par 5, the last 2 par 5s that he's played in a 4th round, he's managed to bogey each of them late. I think it was the 14th at LACC. That bogey lost him the event, by the way. And now this go around. So that's 2 instances. There's the the mental capacity that like the toil that it must have on you as a person to know that you had 2 potential majors in your hand and you washed them away. But I add, last year at LACC also paced the field in half the scoring stats that you needed to win, and he still did it. So you gotta feel for Rory. It sucks. I don't blame him for wanting to take 3 weeks off. He's gonna miss this week. He'll miss the Rocket Mortgage and the John Deere, which, let's be honest, probably wasn't gonna play in anyways. And we'll see him again when he defends his title at the Scottish Open, and then we'll see him hopefully if he can end the streak at Royal Troon. I mean, in 2014, he won the PGA and he won the Open. We'll see if he can manage to at least claim one of those a decade after last.
By the way, his first major appearance was the 2009 Masters, so I was basically right.
Thank you.
No
I don't know why I thought 04. I must have thought he was like a child phenom. I'm just totally off base on
he was he was really good. He was really good. I think he was supposed to go to Tennessee, University of Tennessee.
Yeah, true. Okay, so wasn't totally off keel, but I was definitely that was a prime Tiger in 04. But yeah, so overall, I think Rory lost it. I think Bryson won it, and honestly, very well deserved. I was very happy with the performance that Bryson was able to put up. A few other notes that I have just from like reaction to Pinehurst. Shout out to Tony Finau, finally like getting that like top 5 in a major that he's needed for the last 3 years, and he's finally managed to hit the plateau. I really hope that this is another. I remember when Tony Finau won like 3 events in like 5 attempts, and this was all 2 years ago. And it was the back half of the year. It was like the 3M Open, that kind of area range. We're getting up to that point soon, so might be seeing a second half resurgence from Tony Finau going into playoff time. Hopefully that works out for him. Also, Scotty Scheffler. Listen to this. This is probably one of the craziest stats. Scotty Scheffler had never recorded a birdie-less round in a major event until this event. I think he made like 4 birdies total the entirety of this week.
Let's see.
Which is absolutely nuts.
So he did make a birdie in the first round, and then in the last round, he had 2 in the first.
Pretty sure 4 the whole week.
Oh man. He just didn't really have it.
Let's go to show you.
For the whole week.
Let's go to show you how hard Pinehurst was. Like, that was a ridiculous test of skill. Scotty Scheffler entered the week averaging 5.2 birdies per round. He made 4 all week. He needed 127 putts to get around Pinehurst, his most in a tournament since last year's Masters. That's your freaking stat. So while Bryson was celebrating a huge win, unfortunately, he will not get the opportunity to represent Team USA at the Olympics, as Pinehurst played host to probably the biggest like sub-story to the entirety of the week. A lot of guys trying to lock in their arrival to Paris this August, the first week of August, for the Olympics, trying to see if an American can win a second straight golf title after Xander Schauffele won it 4 years ago. A couple of updates on guys who are officially going to be a part of the field. This is the 60-man field out for the Olympics. Might I add, the most players that a team can have is 4. Otherwise, most teams are qualifying only 2 guys typically, with America being the one country that's going to have more. But Wyndham Clark and Colin Morikawa both lock in their spots for Team USA alongside Scotty Scheffler, and I'm drawing a blank on who the other American is going to be. Sepp Straka locks in for Austria. Minwoo Lee overtakes Cameron Smith to represent Australia. Thomas Dietrich to Belgium. Corey Connors overtakes Adam Hadwin to represent Canada. Don't know how Corey Connors wasn't already in for Canada, but he apparently had to overtake. And Sunjae Im and Siwoo Kim both lose their spots on the South Korean roster to Ben An and Tom Kim. Can we talk about the resurgence of Ben An from the over-the-counter drug suspension for 3 months to all of a sudden being a top 20 player in the world and just absolutely raking on the golf course every week? Like amazing stuff. I absolutely love this story. By the way, it's Xander Schauffele. I'm freaking stupid that I did not. I'm like, what an absolute fucking brain fart. But because of the official World Golf rankings, which is how they base the Olympics off of, Bryson is currently ranked 10th in the OWGR, which means that he is officially out amongst the Americans. He even finished behind Patrick Cantlay. Do you think that the Olympics should be graded a different way in order to allow certain players based on current form to then be in the field? I also feel like the qualification is challenging because most countries are qualifying only 1 or 2 guys tops, while America obviously has 7 guys in the top 10.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit flawed. Obviously, look, we know the OWGR. We've said this a million times. It's flawed. It's outdated. They need to adjust. But at the end of the day, like, this is part of the price that you pay for going to live. That's it. And they knew damn well, everyone who went to live, they knew we're not going to get world ranking points. We're going to try to get them, and if we don't, then we're going to be we're going to be stuck. And you better play really well in those majors, like really well. And that's just, they don't have enough opportunities to be able to compete in something like this, such a prestigious event, I guess we'll call it, because it's more than just golf. It's the greatest athletes in the world.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, yeah, and should Bryson be playing? Yes, he's like one of the best golfers on the planet right now, for sure. But at the end of the day, like, this is part of the decision. It's part of this is the opportunity cost. You do something and you're going to miss out on something else. There's a cost to every single action that you make. And this ends up being the cost of it, and it's, you can blame whoever you want. You really should blame LIV, because it's like, just, I guarantee you, if their tournaments were 4 rounds, they would probably get world ranking points.
Totally, yeah.
I really don't. It's really that cut and dry. Like, I truly believe, and people can say, well, the course difficulty. Most of these courses have hosted European Tour events anyway, or PGA Tour events. Like, they are legitimate golf courses. And so this is just part of the decision. This is how it's going to be, and it is what it is. As far as I do think that it's a little bit ridiculous that, like, I think what I think should be done is every single country playing in the Olympics should have 2 golfers represent their country. That's it. And I get it. Like, the U.S. has, like, what did you say, 7 players inside the top 10? Is that what you said?
Like that, yeah.
What's that?
Something they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the top 10 according to the OWGR.
Okay, yeah. So they have 6. Now, look, like, would it be tougher for, like, look, it would suck if you're like the 5th best player in the world, but like you're like the 3rd best American in the world. Yeah, like, that would suck for you. But at the end of the day, like, I think every single country participating in the Olympics should have the opportunity to select 2 golfers to represent them. It's the Olympics, and it's more than just sports. I think that it's also about countries being able to celebrate their athletes. Yeah. And with the current format, they just don't really have that luxury at the end of the day. And I think that is I do think that that's a shame.
I think also that this sorry, go on.
Not to cut you off, but like this is like that would be an opportunity for the world to see golfers who you might have never heard of, and who potentially may never get that opportunity to have that spotlight ever again.
Exactly.
And that could give someone who, potentially you've never heard of before, they play well in the Olympics, and then these, like, the DP World Tour, the PGA Tour, they're like, oh wow, like, this kid's like really good. Like, let's like throw him a sponsors exemption, like, see what he can do. And who knows, like, that person could literally make a career just by getting an opportunity to play in the Olympics for a country that, doesn't have someone who's like top 50 or 60 in the OWGR. You never know what that could lead to.
I also think, and this is totally separate to the actual making of the field, but the Olympic golf format is just stupid. It's a 72-hole no-cut stroke play event. Like,
Yeah.
it should be a team-oriented event, and the selection process, the qualification for it should be a uniform thing, but it should require 2 players to be qualified from each team. You do, whether it be a stroke play, whether it be a stroke play or even a 4-ball, whatever it might be, format, to have both players involved in it and playing. We're going to see guys in this field who 99% of golf fans don't know. And honestly, it's when you look at the rankings from 1 to 60 right now, we're talking even like guys who you and I have probably never heard of. Gaganjit Bhullar from India, Gavin Green from Malaysia. By the way, Kirade Apibarnrat will be representing Thailand, which is going to be fucking amazing. Rafael Campos is one of the best players from Puerto Rico. He'll be in the field this week. You're going to have guys who we haven't seen in years play big-time golf, like Guido Migliozzi from Italy is going to wind up playing in the field this week. Abraham Anter and Carlos Ortiz from Mexico, Marty Dow in China. There's a lot of names here that you nor I know, while the rest of the world knows the guys like Ryan Fox and Alex Noren and Nikolai Højgaard and Corey Connors, Minwoo Lee, Nick Taylor, Shane Lowry, and the pack. There's a lot of talented golfers that are not going to be on display at the Olympics, and it's kind of a shame because some of these countries, like we'll take Austria for example, is only able to qualify 2 guys, or is only able to qualify 1 guy, and that being Sepp Straka. So hopefully we're able to change the format and the way qualifications actually do work for this event, because there should be a lot more celebration for golfers that are allowed. And then even you have the instance of like Sungjae Im and Siwoo Kim, who last year during the Asian Games had to basically fight to win in order to avoid military service. You might have that in other countries where some guys no longer get a shot because you're the 4,000th ranked player and you're from Finland, but you don't play on the PGA Tour, you don't play on the DP World Tour. You need to find your ways in order to qualify for these things. I'm just throwing out a hypothetical, but these things happen.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. I agree.
We're going to take a short break. On the other side, we'll break down the Travelers Championship, the next signature event on the calendar. We'll talk about how annoying it is that we have 3 straight signature events in a row, no alternate field. Although I do love the fact that it's the one event up in the Northeast. And believe it or not, we are so close to the Open Championship. Major Golf is taking a huge, huge leap this year. We'll be right back from the Underground. Steve and Ben, don't go anywhere.
Get in the Hole is brought to you by PHI Apparel Company, our incredible merch partners. PHI Apparel Co. provides unique designs and high-quality clothing from t-shirts to hoodies for every golfer around. With their original designs for all, there's no doubt you'll stand out on the course, the driving range, or at the 19th hole. Go to phiapparel.co and use code UNDERGROUND at checkout for 10% off any order. That's code UNDERGROUND at phiapparel.co and grab exclusive Get in the Hole podcast merch and support your favorite golfers.
What's going on, everybody? This episode of the Get in the Hole podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Acorn Hills. And as the great Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, the creation of 1,000 forests is in one acorn. Acorn Hills Company would like to add, it is what one does with that acorn that creates a better tomorrow, to the end of that quote. Nate, amazing guy. It was awesome meeting Nate when we first brought Acorn Hills on board and they got on board with us. The founder of Acorn Hills puts ink to the paper of this story with a vision he saw for a better tomorrow through clothing. As an outdoorsman himself, Nate set out to combine his 2 passions, looking good and the great outdoors, whatever that activity may be, by providing things such as biodegradable packaging and plantable clothing tags, which, if you haven't heard, are basically the coolest idea ever. We pay homage to our Acorn logo by practicing what we preach. Along with this, Acorn Hills focuses on giving back to its community by taking the initiative to help revitalize forests and areas of land that fill this great place we call Earth. With a percentage of sales donated to charities and organizations such as the National Forest Foundation and others that align with these goals, we create this better tomorrow. People have asked, why choose clothing? It's simple, really. When you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you do good. We just help you get there. Although Nate may have been alone when he started this, our roots now run very deep. You'll never look at Acorns the same way again, huh? You're welcome. You guys can go to acornhillsco.com. Check out all the awesome apparel and merchandise they have available to you. And when you go to checkout, use code GITH15. That's GITH15 for 15% off your next order from our friends at Acorn Hills. And look your best from the ground up. Now, let's get back into the episode.
Welcome back to Getting the Hole here. Steve and Ben breaking down the Travelers Championship this week. You know, it's crazy. Before we talk about what's going on with the Travelers, you know, we're only 24 days away until the Open as we record to this Monday right now on the 17th of June.
That's
24 days. We just had the hardest major of the year, and we're gonna basically sprint our way to Royal Troon, which, by the way, is no joke of a golf course either. Like,
Yeah, no, it's not. It's it's major championship season. This is when the best players in the world are supposed to shine, and they are. They are most certainly shining right now. And so there's been a lot of drama in every single major we've had this year so far. You know, not just on the golf course, but off the golf course as well. You know, with certain someone getting arrested. Anyway, hopefully we don't have any of that. Hopefully everyone knows, you know, whatever town Royal Troon is in, everyone knows who Scotty Scheffler is. You know, that's what we're hoping for. You know, they should take a page out of the Pinehurst Police Department's book, which was a hysterical graphic to see, by the way. So funny.
that was great. I think Royal Troon is located. I know it's in Scotland. It's in South Scotland. I think it's like the South Ayrshire. I don't understand anything that the British Isles do, and the Scots exceptionally. Considering, you know, I don't understand what they're even saying half the time. By the way, early betting lines right now for the Open: Scotty's plus 500, Rory's plus 700, Bryson's 12-1, Xander and Colin 14-1. Ludwig and Hovland 16-1, and then John Rahm, Cam Smith, Brooks Koepka, and Fleetwood all 22-1. So Scotty Scheffler still, even after a rough week, is still only 5-1 to win. Let's break down the Travelers this week. We go back to TPC River Highlands in Cromwell, Connecticut. Only a half hour from my alma mater, Quinnipiac University. Great golf course. Loved going there back in college. Honestly, one of the more underrated spots on tour. I feel like no one gives it enough appreciation. It's a really short track. It is not anything. It isn't most certainly isn't one of the longer nor harder courses on earth. If you know, Jim Furyk's 58 came here a handful of years ago. I think almost a decade ago. Only 6,800 yards, par 70. It's been on tour here for 40 years. It's not the most illustrious Pete Dye design, but it is most certainly a paradise for those who are able to hit it long, hit it straight, and can manage those hilly conditions. Keegan Bradley won here last year. The one guy from the Northeast managed to win his basically hometown event. I think Keegan Bradley's from like Boston area, so relatively close. But we've seen a handful of winners at this place: Xander Schauffele, Harris English, Justin Johnson, Bubba Watson's won here a handful of times, Russell Knox. A very diverse set list of players, and also a very diverse set list of upsetting moments, including Sai Thagala, who finished T2 here, only behind Xander Schauffele 2 years ago. Lots of turmoil to be done on a golf course that's pretty much straight up, but a lot happening this week at the Travelers. Have you ever had the chance to play River Highlands at all?
No, I you know what? Actually, I do know someone who Monday qualified into it years and years ago, and so I've known this guy since I was literally 10 years old. And just a quick story, because we have time. So he still is a pro. But he teaches now. He played full time for like 14 years or something. And he played the Latin America. He played on the Latin America tour for a couple years, and then eventually it was just like it was time for him to hang him up. But he Monday qualified into the Travelers. He didn't make the cut or anything, but he's married, and so like in the house, his wife. He told me a story. His wife was like, I guess he has like a room full of like a bunch of like golf stuff. Because he's like a golf junkie, and she's like, "What about like, can we get rid of this? Because like, can we just like get rid of this driver?" He's like, "Well, like that one I got from the tour championship that I played in. It's kind of like a keepsake for me." And she's like, "Okay, well, like what about this one?" He's like, that one I got at this event that I played in." And she's like, "Okay, like what about like this club?" And he goes, "Okay, look, we're not getting rid of any of this stuff."
Ha 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 ha.
Whatever. I thought it was funny. Whatever.
It's one of those it's one of those like had to beat our jokes, I guess. But I get it. A couple things of note for TBC River Highlands this week, of course. The name of the game is the complete opposite of what we saw at Pinehurst. It's going to come down to a ball striking game. We're going to go very low this week. You're going to see scores in the 20s probably to win. Keegan Bradley last year won at, I believe, 23 under par. So you're going to see a lot of really good putting displays, a lot of very strong approach game and ball striking play, a lot of par fours, roughly around 175 to 180 yards on approach. So it should be a pretty interesting week. By the way, this is completely irrelevant to what's happening at the Travelers. The Monday qualifiers just came out for the Champions Tour event this week. And there's a man who finished T2 and qualified. He's 73 years old, and he shot 5 strokes below his age to qualify for the event. Do you know what his name is?
No.
Dick Mast.
You're a child.
You can't tell me that's not funny. That's almost as funny as when the Mets on opening day had Seymour Wiener as their veteran of the game, and then proceeded to use Seymour Wiener as our promo for Dollar Hot Dog Night.
Moving on. Let's get into the picks.
Let's get into it. Ben got absolutely obliterated this past week. I won 4 out of 6, almost 5 out of 6. I almost had a chance. And like, this is the crazy part about this. If we didn't do the make and miss the cut, I still would have had 4 of my 5 total picks for the week. 4 of my 5, yes. Colin didn't finish top 5. Rory could have won, which would have been insane. We're inching that much closer to me finally getting a perfect 5 for 5 in beer money, but hopefully this week we can try and right the wrongs. With that being said, let's get into beer money. Brought to you by our friends over at Kenwood Beer. Who is Kenny? He's smooth, clean, and bright with a taste to boot. He's the routine choice of folks who want a flavorful, balanced, and no-frills beer that's right for any occasion. Only 120 calories and 8 grams of carbs. Some call it the best light beer they've ever had. We just say you can't beat the original. Head to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Tracker to find one. You can get your hands on some ice-cold, refreshing Kenwood beer from your favorite liquor stores in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. Now available in the great state of Delaware, the first state of the Constitution. And, of course, when you get a chance to go, the Wells Fargo Center and beyond. Plus 21 years or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. For those of you betting with us, gamble responsibly as well. We start off with a top 20 finish for the Travelers Championship this week. Ben, you're on the clock. Who you got?
You know what? Since I always go first, you can go first this time, especially because my computer's about to die. So
that is totally fine. I will happily start off with my classic top 20 pick that has hit more than me as a child. Corey Connors, top 20.
Why would you say that?
I wasn't actually hit as a child.
But still, please don't say that. You said what, Corey Connors?
Corey Connors.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look, like, I think, look, you know, I'm going to go with someone who pretty much similar odds, I think. Matt Fitzpatrick.
I dig. Top 10. Finished top 2 here behind Xander Schauffele 2 years ago. Did not have a great run of things last year, but based on what Keegan Bradley showed us, where he missed the cut at the U.S. Open and then proceeded to win this past year, I think this guy has a legit shot after missing the cut of the U.S. Open. Sai Tagawa.
That's a good one. So I'm going to go with someone a little lower on the odds boards for my top 10. Tommy Fleetwood.
You know, I was so high on Fleetwood at the U.S. Open and just absolutely washed me away.
We both kind of were. Yeah.
He had that. I think he went like 4 over on moving day. Had me like really like freaked out. Or actually no, after the second round I think, and then basically went like even par for the rest of the way through. Just I always want him to play better, and he never actually does.
That's just why I went with him for a top 10. Because that's completely reasonable.
Like eagerly waiting for the moment that he can finally break through. Top 5. I'm between Sam Burns and Tom Kim. I will let you pick for me.
What?
I think both of them are going to play great. But who do you think is going to do worse? Sam Burns?
I'm not playing this game because I'm down by like 6 now. You're picking because knowing my luck, I'm going to pick one that's going to hit for you.
All right, so I'm going to ride with Sam Burns this week. I think that Tom Kim is actually a great pick to win this week. But after what I saw on Sunday at Pinehurst, a 3-under final round, finish in the top 10. On Pete Dye courses, listen to this. Sam Burns is ranked 13th in strokes gained total over his past 36 rounds. And at TPC River Highlands, specifically, he's 12th in strokes gained total. I think he finished here recently, I believe, in the top 20 the last 2 times out. So I'll like Sam Burns to go even lower this week for a top 5. How about you?
I'm going to go with Patrick Cantlay for my top 5 finish.
I dig it. The gimme pick this week for me, I'm going to go with the reigning defending champion to finish top 20, Keegan Bradley.
That's an interesting one. I kind of like that. I don't mind it. All right. This is going to be tough for me because I have a couple guys that I was thinking about in this position. Can we bet top 40s?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure before I say anything. I'm going to go with basically I'm just flipping a coin in my head. Adam Hadwin for a top 40.
I dig. Who recently lost his position to Corey Connors for the Olympics.
He's got some motivation.
Hey, you know what? He's gonna have to come up large. My winner this week. So typically, and from the advice of multiple betting folks that I listen to and I trust, whenever someone plays well at a major, they always fade them the week afterwards because they clearly were in a different headspace, probably have a bit of a hangover, they take it easy. However, there's only one player who over the last 3 years has actually played better coming off of a major than anybody else on the PGA Tour. Former FedEx Cup champion. He finished T4 here last year. He's first in the field in strokes gained total at River Highlands in his career. He's 4th in the field in strokes gained total on Pete Dye courses. He's 3rd in par 4 birdie or better percentages. The numbers are so strong. He had an incredible week at Pinehurst. Patrick Cantlay to win the Travelers Championship.
Okay, that's a good one. You know, here's the thing. I'm going to go with someone who did not play very well last week, but he is also a FedEx Cup champion. Victor Hovland to win this week.
I'm pretty sure you've taken Victor Hovland like each of the last 3 weeks. Aside from last week, and he's crashed and burned every time.
Pretty well, except for last week. He's been playing better. Like he finished like solo 3rd at the PGA. He's been playing better.
Pretty sure he missed the cut. I think you took him at the Memorial, and all right, finished 15th. Not bad.
Yeah, shut up, Steven. You don't know anything.
Spitting raspberries. It's one of those things I can't do. All right, short episode, easy episode. Not a lot of going on. A lot of that U.S. Open hangover, but a lot of really good commentary. It's been episode 159 of the Get in the Hole podcast. Steve McAvoy, Ben Pirro. Another great week in the golf world. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, at Underground Sports PHI, at Get in the Hole Pod. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and the entire Get in the Hole universe at Get in the Hole Pod, and of course the family of Underground Sports podcast shows, and of course the mother of all Underground Sports PHI. Once again, episode 159 for Ben and Steve. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the week in golf. This week, we'll come back next week to break down the Travelers and whatever else is happening in the world of golf. Hopefully, we have more news on this PGA Live merger. Waiting for more stuff.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Get in the Hole Pod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at Underground PHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!